I just want to say that this is a very difficult time for all of us that are with the team and associated with trying to help our guys be the best that they can possibly be. This is a really tough day for us to have to sit here and talk about someone like Greg who doesn't deserve what's going on with him because he's worked his tail off to get to where he's at to get ready to play basketball again. And so it's not easy for me to sit here and talk about someone that I care deeply about. I guess to start out, I'd like to say that Greg's patellar fracture and his chondral injury that he has are not related. Although they're in his same knee, his left knee, the patellar fracture that he has, that he sustained in December, and what happened to him in regards to his chondral injury are two totally separate situations. I can tell you from a timeline standpoint that 2 weeks ago today, Greg was seen by Dr. Roberts, and he had a normal exam. He had no fluid in his knee at all. He had a normal exam, and we were solely concentrated on continuing to get him stronger, to continue to be increasing his confidence and his ability to play on the court. He was experiencing some discomfort based on the hardware that was in his knee and in his patella. So it was suggested that we get a second opinion down in Los Angeles. We went to LA, well, to back up, I guess, I need to tell you this. We went to LA to play the Lakers on Sunday, and Greg had a workout that was, I think, broadcast on TV because our doctor watched him work out before the game on TV. So he had a workout, he had a strong workout, he had a strenuous workout. And when he came off the court, there was no talk that he was struggling or that he was having difficulty with his knee. On Monday, I first heard about the discomfort with his knee when we were at Coach Luke's funeral. And he mentioned to me that his knee was sore and that he had some swelling or effusion. We looked at it. It wasn't a large amount, but the following day, the Tuesday, we had our next game. Saw him at shoot around. He had a significant effusion on his knee, and one that warranted him to see Dr. Roberts that night at the game. Dr. Roberts looked at him, thought that, didn't know the exact reason, but he suggested that he drain the knee, and he drained a moderate amount of fluid from Greg's knee at that time, Tuesday night. On Wednesday, we had already planned this trip to Los Angeles to get a second opinion. We were already going down there for another player's surgery, imagine that. So Greg and I and Rich, we accompanied Greg down there and saw Dr. Elatrage down there. And at that time, he didn't have very much of an effusion on his knee because it had just been drained the night before of a moderate amount. So although his knee wasn't normal, he had a small amount of fluid on there. Dr. Elatrage attributed that to increased activity, and that to have swelling on his knee was not unusual. If he didn't have swelling, he would think that was unusual. So I had seen Greg in the lobby of the hotel the following day, and when I next saw Greg, it was in the lobby of the hotel, and I looked at his knee, and it had significantly increased from when it had when he was seen by Dr. Elatrage. And it was at that time that I mentioned it to Dr. Roberts and he agreed that it was time to get an MRI on Greg's knee. Now, at that time, we were not looking for a chondral type of defect in Greg's knee. We were thinking, well, maybe there was something on the undersurface of his patella, maybe, that was causing him to have some irritation due to increased activity. So the MRI was not a real good tool to see the patella based on the hardware that was in Greg's knee. So, but at this particular time, since he had a large amount of swelling, it was determined that we were going to do that anyway. So Greg preceded us to Portland. We continued with our business in Los Angeles with another player, and then when we arrived back in Portland on Saturday, we did the MRI on Greg, and we went into the room where Dr. Roberts and me and Greg were, just the three of us by ourselves, and Dr. Roberts pulled up the picture of Greg's knee on the screen, and you know, Greg didn't know what he was looking at, but Dr. Roberts did, and I knew what to look for too, and there was the defect in his articular surface of his left knee. We sat there, and it was like we got kicked in the stomach, and we all felt like we had just been told of somebody close to us that they had died. I mean, it felt that way, and we didn't know what to say. I mean, we were shocked, and then we started to try to make plans as to, you know, how we're gonna proceed with, you know, what was the best way to get this type of news out. We wanted to make sure, I don't want to say just us, but Greg's family and people wanted to make sure that this was the right diagnosis, and that we were not through with our investigation or our evaluation of this process with Greg. And it was then that we decided where to send these films and with whom to get a second opinion from, and we just received that verification of that news just very recently. So that's where we stand now. And you have anything to add, Rich?